I'll call to order the July 1st, 2025 meeting of the Washington County Planning Agency. We have quorum established with Supervisor Henke present. I'll hand it over to Pamela.
Okay. Well, today we have 9 GML referrals to go through. And the first one list is a project under the Town of Whitehall Town Board consideration for an amendment to site plan review regulation. And this is local law number 1 of 2025, amending local law number 7 of 1990 to include regulation of solar, wind, and battery storage. And for the packet, the referral, but I also have on hand the 1991 in case anybody wants to reference it.
Okay. The text box that I would look for the set of plan, a decommissioning plan, and clear definitions, and the option for the municipality to require escrow from the applicant. Otherwise, it looks very clearly written. Have any questions?
No other than ability to define when it ceases to generate electricity for 12 months. It's kind of a self-reporting thing.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, that's their business. That's their business.
Yes, question. And are we effectively creating a new article? It says it's amending this law,
Mhm.
and everything's kind of section 1 point whatever. And I assume it's not changing all this stuff. That's really the only concern I have. It seems like it's I understand what they're doing, it makes sense, but I just want to make sure they're calling it an amendment to the law where does it fit in?
Right.
I say we're not taking these two things and throwing them out, replacing this.
I'll do it.
It's got planning board requirements. I mean, I guess that's the only comment I would make. Send it back with anything, is just to ensure it kind of properly fits in the nomenclature, for lack of a better term, of the local law, so that you're not inadvertently removing something that they want to keep.
Right, you're right, they are using different terminology sections versus articles, there's no. Yeah, there might just need to be a whole, there probably should just be a whole nother article subsection for energy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
put it in there under that and
yeah,
it should be fine. I
Okay.
think. That's the only comment I would make.
that's,
It's the other ancillary thing I'd say, that's. Has to do with your comment earlier about the $250,000, you get a $500 fine in there,
That's why
which, you know.
we'll get to that when I hit the other.
Yeah, it's a,
That's the part we're gonna, wait a minute.
yeah. I can pay a $500 fine or spend multi-thousands of dollars removing this thing. Yeah.
Well, but
Here's your
then keep in mind
$500.
that the $500 fine is each week.
mm,
So I mean, it could add up quickly or part thereof,
Yeah,
not as quickly as 250,000.
that's right.
Or actually, I think theirs is 250,000 recurring.
Yeah,
That's, we'll get to that shortly.
okay. Any other questions, discussion? I would make a motion that this is a matter of local concern with the aforementioned comments regarding structure. Compatibility with the existing site plan review law.
because it's required that I second it, so
Yeah.
therefore.
It's gonna be required that you vote on it too.
Therefore, I-
Hopefully.
I second it and vote definitely in favor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Alright, motion carries, thank you.
This is gonna be fun.
So the second project on our agenda is, for the town of Kingsbury, zoning board of appeals consideration for amendment to grant an area variance. Actually, Blair is the applicant. Address is 5 Harrison Avenue. And this is the construction of 2 additional 10 by 16 billboards. Purpose of review, it's 500 feet, New York State Route 32 and County Route 41. I did receive a note from Deb who asked about the sightlines, and
Okay,
so I have Google View.
I assume that's going,
In August.
on
This
either
side.
side of the.
Yeah, and, yeah, they did a sketch at the back there, kind of a hand sketch. And we saw this on August 31st, 2021 for the first bill. And we didn't have any comments in our, for the first.
anyway, I know there's a house right here. If they're going on this side, it's gonna be real close. I did check, I can't see it at the moment because of trees from my daughter's window.
Is there a billboard there right now?
There's that billboard's.
Does it just say for rent?
Actually, I think it's got a Glens, last I saw it had a Glens Falls roofing advertisement on it.
Okay, yeah, I think it does have an advertisement on it.
I mean, there's, that's it, this side, there's clear room, there's just kind of a little. Called a mini house almost
Hmm,
here. That's the only concern I would have would be probably how close is it gonna be to the backyard or fence of the house on the corner.
So I flagged for you, like, the letter from the legal council that,
They had no complaint.
just sort of referring to the last time that the board saw this and also naming the code, which in the application they sent me the code that wasn't this code, so I printed out the code for you. There, so-
Okay. So as Pamela flagged, there is not actually an area variance application submitted and there, one has not been filled out. So this is not a complete application. Which means it
Right, I asked
isn't ready to come here.
about.
Yeah.
But in any event, it's not approaching on our right of way on the county road.
Yeah.
No,
County road, actually, you really can't. And you're going by it, you can't see it on the county end, but it's clearly visible on The state says you can see it coming up to the intersection, but you go past, it's just a row of houses.
And this is a residential area primarily?
Well, it's a commercial.
Behind it, yes.
Okay.
Right next to it is an auto dealership that's been
Yeah.
there forever.
Mhm.
In Porter Celebrator. It was.
Yeah, you say.
Yeah.
Hmm.
This week.
Do you want to
Kick
take
this
no
back
action
down.
because it's
It's not right
incomplete
there.
application?
I think we have to. I don't think we can make a decision on an incomplete application. Request more information. I mean, that, like, they as a board also cannot make a decision. Yeah.
They will.
Yeah. So I would make a motion to table this until, the complete area variance application is received.
And of course, I was second that.
All in favor, say aye. Motion carried.
Staying in the general area.
Do you ever see decommissioning plans for billboards? I mean, this is just timber,
never
but, no. It's just timber, but. It's kind of a significant visual impact, especially having 3 on a site. Just wonder what happens when you're no longer using them.
Yeah, I think that was like, that was.
Okay. Great, thank you.
So the third item on our agenda is another project from the town of Kingsbury Planning Board, consideration for site plan review. The applicant is Dustin Reddington, with Reddington Performance for 3638 Burgoyne Avenue. The project is an automotive business specializing in upgrades for classic and late model cars and trucks. And he sends an applicant letter to the, planning board that describes the operation and we have a flag on it. Purpose of review 500 feet of New York State Route 32. And I also have it's a few doors down from the last application.
Well, it's pretty much smack in between, meetings on the intersection of Harrison. And Burgoyne.
Yeah.
Got another dealership slash repair shop. On the other end, we just saw.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's literally right smack dab in a row of houses. We actually got a sign for a public hearing. in the front.
Yeah, oh, I saw that the other day. And then this is.
I assume that's what they're doing.
Yeah, okay.
I think he's repaving his, I saw it somewhere in here. I think
It says freshly paved.
Presley paving,
Yeah.
he's repaving it, putting in, what did it, let's say 4 parking spaces or 3 parking spaces? We look at the map. 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like.
Yes, he's not dealing with any oil or fluids or anything like that. Go ahead.
He didn't say, I didn't read anything about storage and disposal. Seeker.
Well, so you got 2 others. 2 other auto body shops slash dealerships. On one side, you actually have a detailing shop at the moment, not too far on the other side as well. But a separate building with the other circles.
Says this is a appointment only part-time. Business to begin with, because the 1-person shop. It manages a limited number of vehicles. With the 5 number.
Yeah, I think specialty is
Yeah.
sort of one of the keywords to understand this is very issue.
Looks like local concern.
Would you like to have a motion?
I just did it.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The board project is under the town of Easton Town Board consideration for adoption of a local law. This is to adopt a site plan review law 04/2025. And for the entire jurisdictional limits of the town. Of course. There's a section in the draft law 1.03 that describes intent of and purpose of this law. One of the things to note is that it's site plan review specifically for renewable energy. Seeing 4 from the town of Easton today, and the 4th one is their comprehensive plan draft. And it's our integrated work that they've been doing for.
This can go to the escrows.
Unfortunately, I can hear the 350-700 prison.
I just think it's interesting that this is understandably the intent of this is for site plan review for renewable energies, but it kind of couches that until section 2, where you might that up in the front, because it doesn't have there's no site plan for any other actions, which is fine, but just with the what. Buried.
So I don't think it is 6 months in prison.
No.
That's even higher than we used to be. It's on your, I'm bench because you're only gonna get 15 days tops.
Mhm.
Even a B misdemeanor, the max is 90.
That's a big comment. Very good way.
And the other question that I would have about imprisonment thing is it basically defines a person as executives of the company. But solar projects are typically created by a developer and managed by an operator.
Okay.
So then that becomes a question of who is responsible.
I think that's defined in other local laws. They don't define an operator in this law.
Good comment. Here's- so.
Your comment is that in 4C, saying that it's a violation, but it's got a sentence of up to 6 months, which makes it a misdemeanor, is that correct?
It's
So
actually,
it's internally contradictory.
yeah, I mean, it's.
I mean, by definition, you know, what's the violation definition of 30 days, right?
15.
15, okay.
15 for a
Been a long
violation.
time since I taught CPL, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then B misdemeanors up to 90.
Yeah.
So we don't wanna have something, an enforcement mechanism that can't be enforced.
Well, it's just internally consistent. They call it a violation. And it's not, it's, you know, the definition of violation versus misdemeanor is based on length of imprisonment. And this is clearly a misdemeanor.
Yeah. I can see if they add some language that says, you know. Second violation, if they want to start throwing around jail time, it's a misdemeanor, and then said 6 months as opposed to a year, that I think's fine.
But can violation of a land use ordinance be a misdemeanor? Just seems like that's,
Ordinarily, it's just
yeah,
it's a civil penalty
Right.
ordinarily.
Yeah,
That's
then
why
I go
the
civil
people-
offense up here in addition to the penalty set forth in subsection C, any person that violates any provision of the local law for each such violation. Will be a civil penalty of not more than 250. And it's. Trying to think this through, because I mean, like, you know, violation of driving without insurance, in addition to whatever you get there, you get a civil penalty. Your license for each day it's not forced.
So section E gives them the authority to institute a civil lawsuit.
Right, they got section D gives them the authority to have a civil offense, I don't know what violation of the town law can become criminal.
Right.
That's, or at least the way they've written it, it's, it can go from an offense to a misdemeanor.
Right.
Unless you say it's.
Let's just say it's a misdemeanor, right?
big escalation.
I don't have a problem with escalating penalties. That section could be problematic. That being, I can't even remember any of the law says you violate this becomes so.
Just- They're a decommissioning for,
I don't think in this one, but there are in two subsequent ones.
Are there building inspectors, police officers?
These officers.
If it's got the building inspectors, it's already to prosecute. And how they gonna get it?
Well, I would assume their authority to prosecute is based on representation and attorney.
Well,
God knows, I know our code enforcement.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, but even, well, I mean, misdemeanor requires information complaint, right?
Usually prosecution by the district attorney.
Right. Yeah, I think that whole section C is gonna be pretty much redone.
Yeah. We got a severability clause, which, well, that might be the one that gets dumped out.
So do we say local concern with these?
yeah, but it was, so. A definition of who is the liable party, right? Review of section C for C for. Do you like to summarize that? Enforceability,
Enforceability of making a criminal offense and under what definition it is.
Yeah. Let's say the internal consistency just was.
Yeah.
The issue.
and. Consider including a decommissioning clause.
Because I know that's in the next two.
Oh, okay. Oh, like. Cause then they have separate battery storage, yeah. But for consistency, it doesn't hurt to put it also inside of that,
Yeah, the battery storage, local law next, and then renewable energy facilities law, which they are identical, except for the whole clauses here.
Okay. So, I will make a motion to not local concern with the aforementioned. All in favor, say aye.
Alright.
Motion carries.
And let me just make sure I got this.
Yeah.
So local concern to comment, to review section 4C for enforceability,
Inconsistency.
and consistency.
Do you wanna get more specific about like criminal offenses, like?
It's probably, my recommendation is no, the history of planning agency, we tried to keep things very simple.
Yes, I understand, but because it is like a legal terminology, that is the inconsistent part, that might be a good place to direct them there.
They have their own attorney, they
Okay.
should be able to figure that
Well,
out.
got past them already, so, you know, okay.
The fact that someone else picked it out.
Yeah.
And then this actually is to consider including a definition.
I think they
And
said,
there was a definition of
who's the liable party?
The next project is Town of Easton Town Board consideration for the adoption of a local law. Adopting a battery energy storage law, number 03/2025. And there's a summary of the law and I got it. Not anyway.
But no, the difference between clear.
And Glenn, yeah,
Yeah.
It's critical information.
So summary of the law here place. And format this. And then one summary and one's example.
so they haven't filled out the secret. It is not.
No, they did, they checked,
They changed, okay.
it does propose action only involve legislation adopted
Okay.
by local law, they check that.
I mean, but you need to do that too then. That's- okay.
This one's got a copy machine. The only thing that jumped out on me at this was the $150,000 fine.
Yeah.
Also, the next one.
I'm having a little concern with it.
Second that. All in favor, say aye.
Alright.
Next, the agenda is the project under the Town of Easton Town Board consideration for adoption of local law. This one is to adopt renewable energy facilities law, 02/2025.
Now, it's basically the same thing.
I jumped for a second.
Oh, I know the other question I had on this. Overall. We know what the 1.5% of total acreage is. In other words, are they already added? On the cap, it says, that is for both solar energy and pure battery energy
Okay.
systems, that are basically limiting it to grand total of 1.5% of the total acreage of land within the bounds of the town,
Uh-huh.
because they want to share the burden of the Climate Act.
That's. How much that is.
I couldn't tell you, I assume they're under it at this.
I would guess it would be a fairly large number.
Yeah. I think so.
Probably has data here.
Um.
And I get what they're trying to do, it makes sense. So I put that out.
Yeah. And for the-
Same as the other. I put including $200,000. Temporary violation.
Do you think? I'm not sure what we mentioned then. About this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cap, I mean.
Well, it's in the other law too.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring it up on that one.
Okay.
I mean, it kind of is what it is. I don't see them, I don't have a problem with them limiting it, I just think, it's something to keep an eye on.
Make a motion that this is a matter of local concern.
I would second.
All in favor, say aye. Motion carries.
Next referral is. Project in the town of Easton Town for consideration for an amendment of comprehensive plan. They had a comprehensive plan in 1970.
Right, that's it.
And this is an update. Of the update. And I just wrote in the description, the documents, multiple objectives, supply a rationale for enacting local laws regulating land use, providing implementation matrix to further other recommendations. Community development, and remaining consistent with New York State smart. Quick summary, but their introduction section gives you more.
Mhm.
And I bought my computer, which I hopefully will not leave on the table. And the plan is up there.
Um,
I've started. Seeker and then stop.
Yeah, which this is a type 1.
Actually, they picked it back up.
There is, so it's funny, you just skip.
On
over
page
them.
11 to page 11.
I don't need to do it. Oh, yeah. Don't need to do this. Yeah, you don't need to do that. Well, I looked over the comprehensive plan, they went through the, rational planning process, there's public input. It highlights the main priorities and issues of the community, so. I would say it's a good step forward for the community, the matter of local concern to adopt it. Alright, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
On this, figure, just a comment that there's always a section M that says, identify the predominant wildlife species, nobody ever does. That,
So if you do it through EAF map, or it does identify it, but yeah, I don't think, so like when you would, when it's, even though the comprehensive plan, there's type 1 action, you skip. You skip most of this part,
Okay.
but yeah, you're right. See, we've been seeing a lot of paragraph stuff. But
I thought you were doing something different with that.
yeah. I could have. Made reference to the town board or something that was.
Keep it quiet.
No.
So now we're moving to the Village of Fort Edward, Village Board consideration for amendment to local law, chapter 350. Addresses the definition of a town.
Provide for discontinuance of non-conforming uses.
how long? Yeah.
I guess my question was also not directly or indirectly provide lodging to one person for more than 14 consecutive days or more than 30 nights. Yeah. All right, I'll say it out loud. This seems targeted to a particular cause.
Yes.
Yeah. And there was something about, did we not actually see it, something last month about expansion of.
I believe so.
Right.
Some
Yeah.
land use, yeah,
Yes,
okay.
we did.
Yeah,
Uh,
And there any issue with cross-referencing the word short-term rental hotel? I mean, should it be there? By this definition, they're the same thing.
Certainly a question.
so this one has no provision for cooking.
Yeah.
It is interesting to limit a hotel stay, because certainly people go on vacation for longer than 2 weeks. I mean, not a lot of people, but some people do, you know?
I don't think that's the
I under-
intention.
I understand the intent, but
This is an MB for
yeah,
our social services people, basically.
Mhm.
And not just ours, more than Circleville's. People on that.
and. That could be a countywide impact, and,
Yeah,
and distribution of where these services are provided is important, but they need to be provided.
But I think that as you said, somebody's gonna stay here for a month on a project or something. So I don't think they'd be able to do that.
Right.
New York State defines long-term stay as greater than 30 days, and anything under 30 days is short-term stay.
Mhm.
So 29 days, short-term. by the state.
Is it determined at the time you check in what your intent of stay is? Because these are sprawl kind of stays.
Well, this says 14 consecutive nights or 30 nights in any year. So that's. I don't know, that's a. Tracking that would almost be impossible, but
But
unless it's done through social services.
the onus on social service, please move them after 2 weeks,
Right,
pick up those kids and take them somewhere else.
yes,
Yeah, we only 30 minutes, I guess the other question. Pray, permanent is it not? It's a Prairie hotel, quote unquote.
Yeah, I think there are.
But wouldn't the onus be on the owner of the motel, not whoever's housing people there?
Well. Does it make any difference if the owner says, hey, you gotta get these guys out?
right, then they'd, if they are being housed in social service, it is
Well,
their responsibility, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think our review of them is clear, right?
is there, I guess I would say maybe there.
Of course, I guess the question is, how do you define transient? Is that,
It doesn't matter because of the definition of stay.
that such transient lodging accommodations are for daily and not permanent rentals? I mean, let's. Hopefully this wouldn't happen, let's say my wife kicks me out of the house.
Hmm.
And decide to stay there until I can find someplace else.
They make it something easier than that, make it your house burns and you're trying to rebuild.
you've got kids, you wanna keep them in the school district,
Right.
yeah. There's a whole lot of, just a whole slew of,
What ifs.
yeah,
And to be sure, that's not who's staying in that motel, but. Pretty much 100% social services. And that's his business plan. Basically, is.
Well, it's not just necessarily social services, it could also be, say, Catholic charities.
Yep. So what do we comment as?
would something like this really impact county and other,
Well, it would have, if, you know. We're operating under an assumption.
Sure.
But, it could certainly impact. Where the county, a county agency can place its homeless people.
and I would actually, regardless of our assumption, that's what this would do, you know?
Right.
And the question becomes, if one place does it, is the rest of the county gonna pick up on it? But
Or warn him.
for one county, this is our problem yet.
I have a
No, I
feeling
mean,
there's
they-
some case law related to this.
What we do. King Leonard is.
No, the other way around.
Or Brady.
Bring it to us.
Or Saratoga.
Yeah, I mean, we're housing. We're in Saratoga County, 6 offenders in there.
That's what I meant,
Right,
right?
or
It's
sex
not
offenders.
just impact Washington County. Also other counties that.
What's our potential actions to be taken here?
Given the potential impacts, I think that there is, I mean, it's certainly. It is a county impact, right?
Yeah.
This is, whether it's intentional or not, it's going to have consequences.
So approval with condition, disapprove.
And we disapprove, they gotta go back to the drawing board.
Well, or have a supermajority.
If this were challenged, would it uphold? Because you're impacting business people, you're impacting.
Well, there's Part of me wonders if there's almost kind of a parallel to a lot of counties for a while had their own local kind of, you can't live, if you're a sex offender, you can't live within.
Right.
I'm not sure if I'm making that parallel to it or not. But that eventually got struck down.
I feel like this is probably happened, at least been attempted elsewhere.
Can you table it and then further?
I think
Legal
they got a,
research?
depending on their public hearing, I assume we're looking to pass this in the near future.
So if you were the business owner and you had been running 100% occupancy, and now you can't, and
Well, the business owner could certainly
the
Sue
sort
them
of
when
it's gonna challenge.
sue the village. And they could do that, certainly.
They are given a year to discontinue this use. I do have concerns about.
I have advice, I don't know.
And your advice would be to not approve.
There, I certainly have. There's certain. Question.
You picked a wonderful day to make me do this. Thanks.
No.
That kind of.
Disapprove because of negative impact on 3 counties.
I would say that my inclination would be disapprove with the concept there are potential significant county or impacts to county services provided, like necessary services provided to county residents and residents of other counties. But
And feel like to comply with the governor's pro-housing. Program. Right? She wants us to solve homelessness.
yeah,
This is creating homelessness.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that I would make a motion to disapprove of the concept this has potential significant impacts to vital county services.
Okay, I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
I do believe when there's a disapproval and you've said it, but to make sure that we have like a substantial, like substantial reasons that it goes into the form.
Yeah, I would like to kind of think on it a little bit, but I think the essential matter is that
Does the agency then give permission with this decision for you and I to speak to him and get like wording and then, or how does that work?
I know we've never disapproved
I
anything,
know.
part of my knowledge.
and then the fact that a disapproval from this agency can still be approved locally with a majority.
There's
So,
also
yeah. I think we can discuss the generalities of the findings here and then kind of make it a little more granular to provide to the board. So, all in favor, say aye.
Right?
Aye. Motion carries.
You made the motion. The last item on the agenda is another project from the Village of Fort Edward Planning Board consideration for site plan review. The applicant is Grown Deli's for 159 Broadway. This is
Go right through the bank, right?
Big and Bang, changing to a restaurant. This is about the enclosure of the drive-through for a stage and the addition of a movable shed for outside performance at the back of the property, which they've drawn in their sketch plan, and they have some photos that I think are pretty descriptive. The movable shed is 12 by 60. And there's no loss of egress, through them, because the driveway is split too. One is the old bank and the there's outside driveway.
Way around the back.
Yeah.
I think that's fair though.
It's great.
Motion made local concern.
Any second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Right, then, that's the actionable agenda items, and now we have just a few APA notices. There's an application received for the town of Putnam on County Route 3 to construct a single family dwelling. And there's a project that is from 2003. And an issued project permit for a 1,500 square foot single family dwelling in an area designated low intensity use. And of course, this is a period of open public comment, so that's why they're here. And then we have a report of final action, the town of Greenwich Planning Board, Berwin Family Farm, to add 19.5 acres to a current 8-acre life of mine. We looked at it in April, on April 29th, and the local board approved action for this project in May. And then we also have an intermunicipal review returned to us for the Kingsbury Floyd Bennett Verizon Cello Partnership Verizon Wireless project on 24 Park Road, Kingsbury. And the individual staff comments are that the Warren County Planning Department finds that the proposed action has no significant intercommunity or countywide impacts, dated 6/4/25. And then not on here, but I received a notice about Whitehall critical water system, a lead agency notice, and a letter regarding the pursuit of CB. CBD plans. Tough time, and I'll just hand that off to you guys.
Got one.
And that's it for us today.
I think that was record.
I've never seen anything this week, actually.
Not in my 7 years.
All right, motion to adjourn?
You just don't need a motion.
No?
But.
Some people think you do it.
But.
Go back to one
Happy
change.
to make it. All you gotta do is adjourn.